You may not guess it by looking at me or by the name and the content on this channel, but growing up, I was really into metal. I was in a metal band in high school. Metal was the first genre that I kind of learned how to produce when I was learning how to record and produce and engineer. And it's a genre that I always find myself coming back to. I'm always entertained by, but over the years, I've just kind of grown away from it, doing all of the pop stuff, the hip hop, the electronic, the R&B. But I wanted today to kind of just dive into my DAW and see what I could do in terms of making a metal song in the style of acts like Architects, Bring Me the Horizon, Wage War, the new We Came as Roman stuff. Really just heavy, melodic, super produced. So we're going to dive in and check all of that out in 1 second. But before we do, my name is Austin. You're watching Make Pop Music. If you like this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out our channel. And if you want a chance to win a free sample pack, MIDI pack, loop pack, or preset pack from our website, Make Pop Music, all you have to do is leave a comment in the first 72 hours. We will pick a winner on our Instagram, Make Pop Music, next Wednesday, so make sure that you follow us over there to see if you won. But go ahead, leave a comment anything you want in the first 3 days, but let's go ahead and let's dive in and start making this song. The first thing that I want to do is write a little guitar riff, so I'm going to be using the Gojira amp from Neural DSP. I'm not using any of the pitch stuff right now. I actually am just going to use a baritone guitar that I have in drop G. So let me grab that so you can hear it. So this is what the guitar sounds like if I have nothing on it. So we're pretty low. We're just going to use a distorted tone right now. Pretty general settings. Here are the settings if you want to copy it. I'm not using any pedals, cab settings, and I'm not really using any of the time stuff. So really just using the head and the cab right here. All right, so to write this riff, I'm going to set a little metronome and just kind of goof around, see what we can come up with. Cool. All right, I'm actually going to double track that, if not quadruple track that, and we're going to use that as our guitar. Here's all of our guitar layered. It's 4 takes. It's a left take, a right take that both kind of have that tone that I just showed you, and then it's another left and right take that are only panned out 90% left and right, and this one has a slightly different tone. For this one, we are using a different amp that's a little bit more kind of like mid-forward, blended with this. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's go ahead and let's put some drums on this. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the Modern and Massive 2 kit. So here's a kit that I'm going to be using. It's based off of the Let It Rip preset. If you have Modern and Massive 2, go download the new update. They actually popped quite a few of my own presets in there that you can just get stock. And so this is based off of that. I've just swapped a couple shell pieces around, but so I'm just going to write a little riff in here. We'll kind of go from there. I'm probably going to do this off camera because there's going to be a lot of latency. Here is what we have for our drums now. As you can see, we're kind of riding on a crash right here. And then we're going to swap to a China about halfway through. And all of that processing is happening inside of Modern and Massive 2. Sounds sick. If you haven't downloaded it, go check it out. I love it. Not sponsored or anything for this video, but it's sick. The presets I made are just so ready to go. Let's go ahead and just layer up a bass. I think what I want to do is use Gin bass, which is just kind of like a VST, and then I'm just going to layer over a sine bass. Here we have our main bass. This is Gin bass 2 by Submission Audio. I use it all the time for like pop punk and metal, and I'm just using the Thallmaster. And it sounds like this. And it sounds great. I've noticed that almost any kind of like metal bass VST doesn't have a lot of low end. So I always typically will like supplement that with something like just a sine wave. So here's one that I made in Serum. It's just to add seconds. And what I'm doing to kind of clean all of that up is on the main bass right here, the hard bass, I actually have a Pro MB that's set to a sidechain. So basically this sub, when it hits, it's going to duck out anything below like 223. It's not happening now once we engage that sub. And that's just allowing the low end of the sub to be cleaner. We also are going to basically do that with the drums. So I'm going to duplicate this and just have like a kick sidechain trigger, and that's going to trigger this entire bass bus. So now we have a little kick sidechain. It's literally just a duplicate of the main kick, but it's going out to no bus, so there's no actual audio being heard, and it's going to be triggering our bass bus right here. So we're doing something similar, Pro MB being filtered with a kick sidechain, and now when the kick hits, the low end of all of the bass is going to duck, and that's going to allow us to have a really, really big beefy kick. And now you'll see it even working on the guitar. And that's just cleaning up some of the low end so we can have a really beefy kick, a lot of low end in the bass, and still have those really low tune guitars. The next thing I want to do is just add in a bit of ear candy, just like rises, hits, maybe like little glitches, just to kind of take it more in that like bring me the horizon realm. So I'm going to add in some little, ear candy stuff right now. So let's talk about this. What I did mainly was like layer up the snare with this Smasher snare one shot. I believe this is just out of the Country Hits kit that we've kind of used on this channel before. And I've just got a reverb. And then I've got a little tonal snare. And then I've just got some hi-hats. As far as the effects, I've just got some risers and hits. So we've got like a big orchestral sweep hit. We've got some hits and crashes out of our pack Sweet Tooth. We've got some cool little glitches that I like found in some Hyperpop packs and Splice. And it just adds a lot to like really make this feel more important. Here you go. Here's what it sounds like. Cool. Let's add a little turnaround. I want to do like a boo-dee-dee-dum, boo-dee-dee-dum, boom, and then we'll just go into like a little verse. Here is what we have for the turnaround guitar. Just played that, and then what I'm doing is I'm actually just adding some RC20 just to kind of filter that in. And then I'm adding Infiltrator and Portal. I have the detailed glitches. It's just kind of automating up. And it's just giving us a bit of movement. Same thing on Portal. We are using the not even, and we're just kind of automating that dry up. And so we're just going to use that to transition in. And for the drums here, I want to kind of move away from the real kit for a second and do some kind of industrial stuff. So for this, I'm going to be using Damage. It's been really popular in the metal scene forever. I kind of want to give us that like Bring Me the Horizon, Architects, like super industrial, fast kind of pace. It's basically just a bunch of loops that I'll play. I'll play the bass down here, and then I'll play a little snare loop. I'm going to figure out something that feels good and I'll show you where I come up with. All right, so here are the final drums. I do have a little bit of extra EQ, but out of damage, this is what they sound like. Then we're just doing a little bit of distortion and EQ. So we'll use that for the verse. I want to go ahead and add in like a bass. So I'm probably going to do another sub and like a real bass. And I'm just going to probably swap this up to do. Let's do. Move that back one beat, and then we'll just kind of play around. So here's where I ended up on the bass. I'll kind of solo these so I can show you. When we play that with the drums, it sounds sick. I want some like really glitchy, almost like hyperpop-esque synths in here. I think that'll really kind of push it into that kind of post-human era of Bring Me the Horizon. So here's what I have for the synth. I have this preset out of Ash Taylor's pack. I believe this is his hyperpop pack. Yeah, Hyperpop Volume 2. It's called Horror. Sounds like this. And I'm just kind of going crazy on the MIDI here, literally just adding in everything that kind of falls in the scale. But where this really goes over is when I add the Infiltrator plugin on this with the Loop Mangler. And then I just layer this kind of stinger over it. This is a preset in Serum called Rip. It's just a pluck out of actually our pack, The Works. This is one of the packs that if you comment, you could win. But yeah, it's basically just really long kind of plucked stingers. It's sick. It just sounds like this. So we're going to use that just to play some top notes. And we would pop that with the bass and that little glitchy synth. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of ear candy. So I'm just going to add this little sweep and hit moment. Scale this back just a little bit. That'll probably work. And then I'm going to have these little like exhausts and hits swelling up. Then we'll go into a chorus there. I do want to add one little guitar in the second half of this, just to make it feel a little bit different. Here is the verse lead. We're using the Rebea preset out of Neural DSP. I'm using the Strat Riff, and I've just kind of like used the reverb to pitch it down an octave. I've got some delay happening. I've got the dual compressor and overdrive. Here's what it sounds like straight up. And we're just tucking that in the background. We'll mute everything there. Now let's go into a chorus. I think for the chorus, I want to do chords. Kind of have this feeling a little bit more melodic. Something like that, maybe? Cool. I'll quadruple track that. So here's what they sound like in our chorus. We still have those layers that are only paying 90% out, but then for the chorus chords, we're just playing single notes. When you're tuned really low like this, it can help you to only play a single note rather than like a full ass power chord on every layer. So we're doing the full power chords on this. And then I'm actually doing an octave higher. We're using the Gojira for this as well. But for this one, I'm really just incorporating quite a bit of reverb and delay. We're not doing anything too wild. It's, I believe, just the same exact tone from the 90% panned layers with a bunch of reverb and delay, and then just a little bit of post EQ. And that's really it. Let's just go ahead and layer a bass over that because that's going to be pretty mindless, I think. Here's what we have for the bass. The only thing is I added this little buzz layer. This is just, I believe, stock out of Serum. This is just in the bass hard from Serum 1, and it's called Black Mask. I just made a couple little tweaks to it, but this is just adding that little buzz. And with the guitar, it sounds huge. Need to add in our drums. We're probably just going to do like something really, really simple. Here's where we landed on drums. With the bass and the guitar. Go ahead and get some extra little synths in there, like I think something like that stinger and maybe even like a little panned arp. So here's our chorus pluck. This is the Deer _P&G preset. This is out of Nest Serum Infinity Bundle. It's just under their key setting. Sounds great. Just a little bit EQ to clean it up. Then we have this crushed pad, very similar to what we had in the first verse. This is just a little brighter. And then a left and a right arp, just adding some space and some movement. And these are with the State Machines by Cradle Audio. This is from the Shadow Structures. So on the left side, we have Innocent. And on the right side, Evil Glue. All right, let's add a little turnaround / breakdown. All right, let's see what we want to do for this one. I want to make this breakdown slightly different than the first one. So let's play around. And then go like a, yeah. Cool, I'll track that really clean. So let's hear this. Let's talk about those cool little like knocked loose-esque octave jumps. So I still have the but I'm using this fatso pedal in here and I'm basically automating it to slam an octave up like a whammy pedal. So watch this automate. And it's just doing an octave. It's really fun, makes it a little bit more interesting. We're gonna layer over the bass and add some drums that are just really slamming with it. Here are our drums. Here are all of our effects. And then here's our bass. And then I did add one little synth, just a singer. Kind of fire. So I just have that little stinger. But then I also added this little kind of like the same hyperpop synth from earlier, that horror preset. But I swapped the infiltrator preset to something completely random and got this. And I just have that tucked under. All right, now let's speed run through the second verse because I do want to do a verse 2. But for this one, I want to do live drums. I want to do a bigger like guitar riff. I want to go less electronic and more real band. So for the riff, I'm going to write it right now in speed run. We're going to go, honestly, we're going to go not distorted. So let me go ahead and just drag this tone way down. Something like that. That feels pretty good. We're going to track that. So here we go. Here is our verse guitar. I'm just using a lot of like the overdrive, the chorus, and then I've got a lot of reverb and delay. Double tracked and only panned 60% left and right. But I also went ahead and did these little like palm mutes. We have the bass from verse 1. And where this becomes really special is the drums. The drums are going bananas right here. If you want to see more about drum programming, making it sound realistic, we have whole videos on that on this channel. I don't want to take up too much time in this video because we're doing so much. But if you want to see how I program drums or write drum arrangements, we already have that. So go check it out. I'll try to leave one in the description, but hopefully the YouTube algorithm will just give it in the recommended folder. I did add that little turnaround guitar again. I just tuned this one up an octave and then swapped the infiltrator preset to give me something a little different. Then we just go back into this chorus, and then in the final breakdown, we're basically going back to the intro breakdown. The only thing that I did add was I added a little intro over here that's basically just a filtered version of the verse 1 drums. And then I added a little guitar riff. It's literally just the main riff sped up 2 times and tuned up an octave. And then we mix that with all of the effects that we have. Now let's throw some vocals in here and get to the final. For vocals, I'm going to leave this pretty minimal. In the verse, we're just going to do one vocal kind of sang. I'm not going to scream a ton on this because I can't, honestly. So here we go. For the verse, we literally just have this one vocal.
You're like an itch that I can't scratch. Your poison kiss gets me high.
So a lot of this is just ear candy stuff that only pops in here and there. We're really just tuning it. We have a bit of EQ, just kind of filtering out some stuff, and then a little bit more EQ, just kind of taming some of those high mids. And that's really it. Here's what the raw vocal was.
You're like an itch that I can't scratch.
With everything.
You're like an itch that I can't scratch.
I do have this 910 harmonizer on here that kind of makes it feel super like Bring Me the Horizon-y, Ollie Sykes-y. It's just at 11% without it.
You're like an itch that I can't scratch.
Makes it kind of fun. And then we just have parallel widening, which is a Roland Dimension D, and then a couple reverbs and delays.
You're like an itch that I can't scratch.
We're also layering that with this distorted layer that essentially is everything that I just talked about, but with a devil lock.
You're like an itch that I can't scratch.
And I'm making it wide by adding basically a slapback delay at 1/32nd note, and it's just 100% wet. So there should be no middle sound coming.
You're like an itch that I can't scratch.
The only other like really fun thing that we have in this vocal for the verse is that we have this.
Gets me high.
And the way that I did that was I printed out my main vocal, and then I basically just chopped it into a section that was the same octave, an octave higher, and then basically twice as fast.
Kiss gets me high.
And then I printed that out and sent that through Infiltrator on the... Which preset did I use? A preset called Shelf Life, and it's basically doing everything.
Kiss gets me high.
And it's a nice little bit of ear candy when you're listening.
Your poison kiss gets me high. Kiss gets me high. You're like a siren, I can't.
And then the last thing is I'm automating up this Infiltrator at the very end to basically stretch out the audio. So I'm using a preset called Elastic B, and as I hold out my final note,
Wept with the tide.
and that's going to wrap it up into the chorus. Going into the chorus, we do a lead vocal, a lead left, and a lead right dub.
You bring me down to my knees and I'm grinding my teeth till there's nothing but dust. With a slip of your tongue, got me coming.
We're also doing that crush vocal thing that we were doing.
You bring me down to my knees and I'm grinding my teeth till there's nothing but dust.
But for this one, instead of doing the slapback with repeater, I'm adding a bit of width with the vocal doubler setting on the 910 by Eventide. And then we're doing a lower octave.
And I'm grinding my teeth till there's nothing but dust. With a slip of your tongue, got me coming.
Then we have a vocoder in here that's basically just me taking the lead vocal, playing some MIDI, and allowing Isotope Vocal Synth 2 to kind of do its thing.
And I'm grinding my teeth till there's nothing but dust. With a slip of your tongue, got me coming undone. I think enough is enough.
And then we just have a big reverb throw.
And I'm grinding my teeth till there's nothing but dust. With a slip of your tongue, got me.
And I'm just kind of automating it for moments that we need it with all the vocals.
You bring me down to my knees and I'm grinding my teeth till there's nothing but dust. With a slip of your tongue, got me coming undone. I think enough is enough. You said warning shots but hit an artery.
So that's kind of it. And then we just have one vocal for the turnaround that is essentially me automating throat length out of Auto-Tune and automating up a bit crusher.
We're on by the time holding a motor gun.
So we're shifting up that format, and at the same time, we are automating more bit crush.
We're on by the time holding a motor gun.
And we're automating the harmonizer mix-up.
We're on by the time holding a motor gun.
That will lead us into the breakdown. And then for the second verse, it's literally all the same thing. I'm just doing one extra vocal that I sang an octave higher, and I am automating the format and the bit crush throughout it.
Numb to the feeling, no hope for healing. Give my all while you give me none. You didn't have the decent.
And that's really it for vocals. I tried not to go too wild with vocal production, but that's every layer. Let's go ahead and take a listen from start to finish. This is a full song, so buckle in, it's gonna take a second. All right, let's check it out.
Can't scratch. Your poison kiss gets me high. You're like a siren I can't catch. My ship is taking water, being swept with the tide. You bring me down to my knees and I'm grinding my teeth till there's nothing but dust. With a slip of your tongue, shot for hidden artery. I'm bleeding now while you scavenge every part of me. So if I'm calling your fault, then I think I will fall. So pull the trigger and run. All night I'm holding a loaded gun. Constantly spiral back and forth like a pendulum. Numb to the feeling, no hope for healing. Give my all while you give me none. You didn't have the decency to cut me like a guillotine. You lost your toe blade deep in me, just so I can free. You bring me down to my knees and I'm grinding my teeth till there's nothing but dust. With a slip of your tongue, I'm coming undone. I think enough is enough. You said one to shot for hidden artery. I'm bleeding now while you scavenge every part of me. So if I'm calling your fault, then I think I will fall. So pull the trigger and run. Well, all night I'm holding a little gun.
And there you have it. There is my attempt as a pop producer trying to make a metal song. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Let me know if you like us kind of venturing out into different genres. Again, if you want to help out our channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want a chance to win any of our sample packs, preset packs, MIDI packs, or loop packs from our website, makepopmusic.com, leave a comment below in the first 72 hours. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you soon. Much love. Peace.